Okay, I hear myself in the background. Welcome back, everybody. Quite impressed with the amount of people. We are at the end of the first day, but I am especially glad to see that we've still got a pretty good crowd here, and I'm sure that a few more people will be trickling through. This is the last, but not least, am I very excited to introduce these particular two speakers to you. We have Juan Gomez, who is Head of Market Intelligence at ForwardKeys. I reckon with this being Travel Forward and the final company talking to us today from ForwardKeys, there might be a little bit of a small link between the two. But we thank certainly ForwardKeys for their great support for the Travel Forward stage. With Juan, we have also Maria Elena Rossi, who is the Marketing and Promotion Director for ENIT. And they will close today's program, and when they're done, I'll come on and talk to you for 2 minutes, I promise, about what's coming in the next couple of days. But these guys was actually going to sort of have a look at, highlight how the pandemic has shifted the way that we do business. We've talked about this on and off today, and these two will actually now continue that conversation. So, in the program, I'm told that we are going to be we're going to sort of uncover some of those diamond destinations that are really pushing the recovery forward. And that's all we're waiting for. It's actually pushing the recovery forward. So let's find out from Juan and Maria Elena if we are all engaging with the right source markets. So please, both of you, I invite you to the stage, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
It feels good to be back on a stage.
Yes.
After so long. Well, thank you everyone for joining us here today. As we were rightly introduced, I'm Juan Gomez, Head of Market Intelligence, and I am joined by Maria Elena Rossi, Marketing and Promotion Global Director for Italy's National Tourism Board, and a trusted partner of ForwardKeys. So it is indeed a great pleasure to be here today.
Yes, thank you, Juan.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you who don't know ForwardKeys, we're a travel data analytics company. We've specialized in air travel data, and for the past 12 years, we've been helping customers and partners in the travel ecosystem to predict travelers' impact. And of course, with the pandemic, this has become more relevant than ever, but also more difficult than ever because everything has changed. The pandemic has shifted the way we did business, the way we planned ahead, and the way we organized ourselves. But as we like to see the glass half full, the pandemic is also, or is representing as well, this hiatus in the travel industry is representing a perfect opportunity to rethink our model, to rethink how we did things, and of course, to set what we want to become. Because, of course, we're missing the travelers now. We're missing the big numbers of travelers that we used to receive pre-pandemic. But this will sooner, I hope, rather than later, recover. And we will have back on our tables the same problems that we had before the pandemic struck. Over-tourism, sustainability, seasonality, and, of course, as I say, this is the perfect time to rethink how we do things, and of course, bring on the data for those that didn't have the data, and of course, extend the use of data within our organization. So not just the data engineer or the data analytics team, but everyone from the marketing to the direction of our companies. So with this, Maria Elena, how's things? How's things in Italy? I mean, of course, Italy was really badly hit, like most countries across the world, by the pandemic. So what have been the biggest challenges for you as a destination, but also as a destination management organization during the past year and a half? And of course, has there been any benefits to this, if we can call them benefits?
Well, yeah, thank you. The question is, of course, very wide and not easy to answer. The challenges we've all been facing is first of all, seeing a whole 13% of our GDP and 15% of our jobs all of a sudden gone. And in this respect, to try to be relevant to the industry and tries to support the industry during these times. Of course, the DMOs can have a share of support, more so the government, of course, in the first place. And in fact, what we can say that the pandemic has brought to Italy the Ministry of Tourism, which didn't exist before, and has brought also a new focus on tourism by the government, also thanks to the Next Generation EU plan, which includes for the first time an important role to the digital transformation and to technology applied to tourism. So many of the resources will be invested in the Tourism Digital Hub. And this was for us as DMO a great let's say, news, finally putting into the center not only tourism but also the digital transformation that we all need to face, because I think this was the real great challenge which we needed to face during the times of the lockdown. Italy was the first country to enter the lockdown, and in this I must say that was in the crisis communication management we had to deal with data were of utmost importance, because we could listen every day, every hour, what was said, was written about our country, and we did a very, very important work thanks to data in order to cover properly what was happening to our reputation. And I think we are coming out of the pandemic as a destination and as a country as a whole much better, showing that we are reliable, and that what we didn't expect. But this had a lot to do with data, and first of all, so you need data to see, let's say, what's happening in real time, but at the same time also to look forward. And in that respect, also the other challenge we had is to create a set of data and that we could use to accompany the short, let's say, reopening, the slow reopening. Not to forget that Italy in Europe was the first market in terms of for extra-European tourists, and that was gone, and we restarted from domestic. We restarted from, let's say, even higher seasonality than before. Because of the domestic travelers only traveling in August, but at the same time not forgetting to create this set of data and to show which market was recovering, where we could act in real time in order to convey some of the tourism flows. And I must say, with you, partnering with you and with other important partners of working on data, I think we managed to give really to set the way to the tourism industry, both public and private. What we also have developed and realized is the importance of conveying and having educational programs for the tourism industry. In Italy, like most of Europe, our tourism industry is based on small businesses, and they really were not ready to understand what was going on, especially, and to rebuild. And also to consider what you said, that paradigms are new and that we should not get back to where we were. And the theme of over-tourism is not a term I like, over-tourism. I'd rather like to talk about bad visitor management. And visitor management for a city like Venice or a city like Florence is of basic importance, and it can only be dealt with data. And this is something, again, that our cities are dealing with. We're supporting them in this, creating data lakes which allow them really to be relevant, both for the industry and for the tourists, and that is very important.
Yeah, we'll touch on you know, the management of destinations, not just the promotion that was always like attributed to these DMO, destination management marketing organizations. But you've touched on some things that I think are very interesting, and is that, you know, the travel landscape has become a very competitive landscape. You were saying how much Italy before the pandemic used to depend on intercontinental tourists, and we're talking about US visitors, Chinese tourists, and that's sadly not back yet. And of course, you know, you have to be very, you know, precise on what audiences are you targeting, and you know, for those following us live here and also via the stream, our data, one of the let's say the key things about our data is that it's almost real-time data, and it allows you to understand who is booking to go where and when. So that allows you not only to track the performance of your destination, but also to track how all the destinations are performing and how are source markets performing. I mean, we've come from a let's say somehow bittersweet summer here in Europe, where, you know, all the hopes were put in all this you know, vaccination campaign, quite successful across Europe, but the numbers at the end of the season were not as positive as we were thinking. But there were some markets and some destinations that did really well, and of course that was, as you say, by looking at the data, making sure that they were targeting the right audiences and those source markets that were ready to travel, and that somehow had a, you know, renewed interest in you know, travel. Of course, as you say, first domestically, then regionally, and then, you know, intercontinentally. So you were also mentioning, I mean, of course, Italy is a good example of how, you know, you guys are very you know, politically decentralized. So of course the provinces work and do their own thing, and it happens the same with Spain to a lesser extent in other countries. And you were saying that, you know, your role now, so, you know, is a bit like let's unite in this time of need. Could you please tell us a little bit more about this tourism digital hub that you guys are building, of course with the help of the EU recovery funds that, you know, are key for to move this forward?
Yes, it is an incredible challenge, because we are living in a platform society, and let's say where everything has already been developed and discovered and exploited. You know, it's a platform society means datification, so data are at the center. It means that, let's say, the selection of, let's say, what we read and what we see and what we hear and our values is actually determined by algorithms and by also the commodification. And I think the interesting challenge that a public DMO has today is how to become relevant and how to understand how the platform society works, and how to become relevant within your specific country, both for tourists who want to come, which are actually the reason why we're here, and of course for the industry. And in this respect, I think that we have a great challenge and a great role in trying to moderate and to select, first of all, thanks to a vision. So you need a vision, and you need to understand which way you want to go, and then convey that both to the industry and to the tourists in order for that to happen. And that means, first of all, to create, and that's the Tourism Digital Hub, is to create, let's say, a technological or interoperable platform which is accessible easily from all the partners, both public and private. On the other hand, is to create a data-driven, real, true data-driven system. And that, again, not only with algorithms, you need a moderator. You need to, if you know where you want to go, you don't let everything just be defined by algorithm, because we know that if algorithm will drive us, it will mean probably that everyone will be in Venice at the same time, because the whole world wants to go to Venice, just to make an example. And in that respect, that's our role, to make choices. And that's, of course, politically not easy, but if you have a vision, it's easier. And third is to be able to create services, digital services, for both for the industry and for the tourists that are actually really useful, that really are something that makes the difference. And these three elements, these three are really the challenges that we have. And the hub, I think, is well, quite exceptional that a country like Italy doesn't have a real working hub. I'm not telling you why we got that far with a very old-fashioned website, let's say. It has to do with a different, let's say, political and bureaucratic challenges we had to face so far. But now there is a plan, a 5-year plan, which will be dealt with an agile project. So we'll just release services and technologies and APIs slowly, and just creating a puzzle with a clear vision where we want to go to. And the regions will be our first partners in the project, but also the private sector. We have very challenging objectives, for instance, to put on board by the end of let's say, these 5 years, 50,000 partners to work with us. So these are challenges which are written down. We have signed it with the European Union, so we'll have to be very good to do so.
Exciting times ahead.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, no, I think, it's key as well to come out of this situation stronger, to, unite both the public and private sectors. I mean, ForwardKeys works extensively with destinations of the whole world, and we also work with partners and customers in the private sector that are based equally everywhere. And I think it's of course the right direction to just try and make things more accessible. From the ForwardKeys side, we've during the pandemic we released our latest innovation tool, which is called Destination Gateway, and it sort of goes in that direction as well. It helps destinations, and within those organizations, it just helps our partners to democratize data within their organization. And by this I mean not having the same people always playing or dealing with the data, but approaching the use of data to everyone. But as you said, for that purpose, you cannot do it with any sort of data. It has to be a purpose, it has to be a direction, it has to be a plan. And it's not just getting data for the sake of getting data, but getting the right data, the data that you need, that is going to help you to reach your goal. And of course, as I say, come stronger from this pandemic, come out stronger, and be able to face those problems that I was touching on earlier. And yeah, with this kind of the challenges for the new let's say for the new normal of once this is over. Let's discuss as well how organizations like yours are moving. I mean, yours sort of like a newcomer if you want, but like how destination marketing organizations are shifting and are changing towards a more management role. So destination management organizations, so managing destinations. And as you say, we don't want all the tourists arriving in Venice at the same time, and we also want them to explore all the parts in, for example, if we use the Venice example, in the Veneto region, and for this aspect, how do you think data is going to help in this respect? Not only the data that we at ForwardKeys provide, but data in general.
Yes, well, the data are important not only, as I said, for real time and to see, okay, when is the best time to come, but I think data is relevant also for the industry to understand that short term very often is not the answer, and you should look more in a long-term perspective in order to create a value growth perspective. And I think that value growth should be at the center of a strategy and of a vision. But it's not easy when, let's say, the tourism sector is suffering as much as it has in these times. So it has to go paired, let's say, the value growth perspective, thanks to data, has to go paired also with a strong support from, let's say, the government in order to support the evolution into value growth, which is not only numbers, but also value in terms of jobs, in terms of course, money, in terms of communities. And so we should look at data in a more holistic approach. We only see tourism, and we've seen that tourism impacts on culture. I mean, our Colosseum was having like 60 million visitors a year, and all of a sudden, because tourists were not there, the Colosseum was empty. And I mean, but we have never talked directly. We've never collected data together with the culture industry, for instance. Each one has seen himself as, you know, self-sufficient.
Separate clusters.
So I really do think that the data should be, with a vision, seen as a you know, in all the value chain that is building our societies, is building our culture, our heritage. So I think data can help very much in this respect, to create a more holistic picture and to give also the decision makers the tools to make choices and to define priorities for to the benefit of sustainability, which usually before the pandemic was seen as a very, to my view, not very concrete concept, which really has to dealt with in a more, let's say, in a very concrete, and as an engineer, tourism should become a little bit the link that connects all the dots for sustainability, which is social, environmental, and economic, and tourism is a very good way to connect dots in that respect.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm a bit mindful about the time, and I would like to, give some time as well to the audience in case they want to have any questions. But before we move to that, looking ahead, for the rest of the year, the Christmas season travel. I mean, we're seeing some interesting reactivations. Since we're in London, I'll speak about the UK outbound market finally coming out of the ashes and reactivating quite strongly, thanks to the relaxation of course travel restrictions on the way back, more than on the way out, because we've been, I guess, more clear with those things. As we were mentioning before, I mean, of course, there's been trouble this summer, and people have been traveling, but it is true that destinations offering a nature, open spaces instead of like crowded museums or shopping malls have, of course, benefited the most. And I could name a few in Italy, like for example the islands, which have done really well. For example, Sicily is one of the successful stories of this summer, with in some markets, numbers really close to pre-pandemic. Yes. Which is fantastic. And now we're also seeing some movement as well for skiing and Christmas travel. How do you guys see the recovery, and when do you think that this could be
the time
be called recovery and not reactivation?
Yes. Well, if I can add, who profited from our data of let's say, the pandemic effects, the after-pandemic effects that we are facing are what we call the second-tier cities. It's very interesting because Italy is connected through over 30 airports. So actually each city, medium city, is connected, is very well connected. And the connection, especially short haul, started very, very strongly during the last months. And so we see cities like Genova, Bologna, Padua, Bari, so the second-tier city profiting very much of this short haul and of this domestic travel. And this is something that is very interesting also because people don't expect there to have the crowds. They haven't been there before, so they say, okay, Rome I've seen, maybe it's not exactly what I'm looking at. So that is another aspect, together with nature and with more, let's say, less known destinations in the countryside, profited from what happened in the last summer. We will be reopening our winter resorts and winter season starting from the 4th of December. And last year we missed totally the winter season. We see strong opportunities, of course, big changes, small groups. We don't have groups anymore. So that's something that we really see, and that destination should adapt to that, also winter destination, I should say. We see, of course, a strong domestic winter with also short haul and some new opportunities on the Scandinavian markets, UK market as well, coming up. In terms of let's say, the recovery to 2019 numbers, of course, as I said, long haul is going to still be hard in 2022. 2023 probably will see some recovery of the US market, but the Asian markets, and especially Chinese, we won't see before the 2023, that's for sure. By the way, we had opened our tourism and cultural year, Italy-China, on the 21st of January last year, and the 25th was the Chinese New Year, and then everything stopped. And so next year we'll have the Italy-China year, but it will mostly be virtual. So that will be a great challenge for us.
But I'm sure it will be good to to promote the destination. I mean, from what we can see in our data, the Chinese are very much looking forward to travel. They've traveled a lot domestically, and of course China is a big country. But we are sure that as soon as they are allowed to travel internationally again, they will do it. Yeah. So I think we may have time for one or two questions. If anyone in the audience has anything that would like to ask before we wrap up. I cannot see a lot with the big lights.
Yes.
So yeah. Anyway, we'll just finish here. Of course, invite everyone to visit Italy's stand at the other end of this exhibition center, and ourselves as well at the booth 344, if I'm not mistaken, just literally outside this stage. So thank you, everyone, and thank you, Elena.
I see one hand over there.
Oh, sorry.
We can hardly see you. We can't hear you. Maybe
if you can stand or come forward, the forward stage.
Okay, you can hear me now. Hello, good afternoon. I was just curious about now that regarding Italy and what's happening with Alitalia. Of course, there's a big loss for Italy. I was just curious whether there was any collaboration to kickstart tourism with the new ITA, which is developing now. I know that they are opening their flights soon.
Yes, we are partnering with all the main airlines and carriers who are serving Italy at the moment. By the way, Ryanair has become the largest Italian carrier. With ITA, we cooperate on the markets, which are, of course, relevant in terms of as source markets. We will absolutely work with our carrier. Yeah, we will just follow the situation as it will develop. But as I say, it's important to work together with ITA and to support where we can. At the same time, I mean, we have to look at a bigger picture. And by the way, we just hosted the World Routes, which is the largest event of the aviation industry. So we've been talking to all the main carriers to see also what the developments are. Italy is, of course, a very important country, a tourism country, so there is a lot of appetite for having the market, both domestic and regional and long haul. So I mean, we are very flexible and open to discuss with those who want to invest in our country.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So. I think that will be it. So again, thanks everyone, and we wait for you in either ForwardKeys stand or the Italy big area at the west entrance of the Excel. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Juan and Maria. Yeah, what better opportunity than to go and further explore what Italy has to offer, for sure. I was just there myself 2 weeks ago. It was indeed wonderful to be back. Thank you very much, Juan. Maria Elena, I'll let you leave the stage, and I'm going to wrap up. I won't hold you, and I won't keep you away from what might be the first drink of the day. I'm thinking alcoholic, of course. I just want to say thank you to everybody that have been coming and going throughout the day. We have a smaller audience here, but indeed, thank you to our key sponsor, Sabre International. Without them, the stage and all of the speakers would not have, we wouldn't have been able to line them up. Most importantly is to have an audience for this. This particular stage is open over the next couple of days. New moderators, new speakers are coming on to here, and we hope that many of you will be able to come back. Don't forget that tomorrow night in this room, with a lot more light, there will be some international technology, international drinks, whatever that means. But drinks is what everybody understands. And why not all join us tomorrow after 5 o'clock so that we can raise a glass to the industry slowly opening up again. And once again, from me, thank you very much for being here today, for supporting us. And on behalf of the Travel Forward team, thank you very much to all of our speakers once again. It's been my absolute pleasure to moderate today. Thank you, and have a fantastic evening. Thank you.